The greatest secrets of humanity are sometimes not buried deep beneath the earth or hidden at the edge of a distant universe, but right in front of our eyes. From meteorite-borne artifacts and cities that vanished without a trace, to creatures that seem to have stepped straight out of legend, this world operates like a vast laboratory of history, where time acts both as a destroyer and as a silent guardian. Today, we will journey through some of the most astonishing recent discoveries, not through imagination, but through data, archaeology, and modern technology. The skyscraper beneath the ocean floor of Australia. In 2020, when marine scientists were mapping the seafloor in the northern region of the Great Barrier Reef, they were not searching for a landmark discovery. Their original objective was simply to update bathymetric data using modern sonar technology. Yet, during what seemed like a routine technical survey, an unusual image appeared on their screens. A vertical structure, completely detached from the surrounding reef system. When the measurements were finalized, the numbers left the team stunned. The structure rose more than 500 meters high and stretched approximately 1.5 kilometers wide. A true tower, growing from the ocean floor. To put that into perspective, its height exceeds even the Empire State Building, one of the world's most iconic architectural landmarks. If this structure stood on land, it would qualify as a super-tall skyscraper. But what makes it truly extraordinary is this: it was not built by human hands. The formation is a solitary reef, often referred to as a detached reef, or coral tower, an exceptionally rare type of structure. Before this discovery, the last time scientists had documented a similar reef was more than 120 years ago. Its existence, unnoticed for so long, underscores how the ocean floor remains one of the least understood regions on our planet. A week after the initial finding, researchers returned with a remotely operated underwater vehicle named Sebastian to observe it up close. The images transmitted back nearly shattered expectations. Despite standing isolated in the deep sea, this tower was teeming with life. Schools of vibrant reef fish swirled around its coral slopes, grey reef sharks patrolled like silent sentinels, and dense clouds of plankton formed the foundation of a complex and thriving ecosystem. The discovery reveals that coral reefs are far more than beautiful natural formations. They are true, biological cities, where thousands of species depend on one another for survival. It also challenges the assumption that humanity has already explored most large and complex ecosystems on Earth. The skyscraper beneath Australia's ocean is a powerful reminder. Even after centuries of maritime exploration, we have only begun to scratch the surface of the ocean's hidden mysteries. And beneath those dark, silent waters, there may still be other towering structures waiting patiently to be seen for the very first time. The buried golden city of Egypt. In 2020, amid the scorching sands west of Luxor, an archaeological team led by Zahi Hawass began excavations with a fairly specific goal: to locate the mortuary temple of Tutankhamun. The site lay between the Valley of the Kings and the temple complex of Amenhotep III, a highly promising location. But what they uncovered was far more than a religious structure. Beneath layers of sand accumulated over thousands of years, an entire ancient city gradually emerged. At first, scattered mud brick walls appeared. Then rooms, streets, and clearly defined functional areas began to take shape. The city was soon named the Dazzling Aten, after the sun god Aten, and inscriptions found on various artifacts. Dating evidence indicates it was built during the reign of Amenhotep III in the 14th century BCE, a golden age of power and prosperity in ancient Egypt. What astonished archaeologists was not only the scale of the discovery, but also its remarkable state of preservation. Walls nearly 3 meters high still stood firm, forming a labyrinth of winding streets. Residential quarters were clearly divided by function: living areas, craft workshops, and large industrial kitchens. Massive bread ovens capable of feeding hundreds were uncovered, along with jewelry workshops and brickmaking areas where royal seals remained stamped clearly on individual bricks. Inside rooms frozen by desert sand, everyday objects remained in place: pottery, gold rings, amulets, and weaving tools. Some wine jars were discovered with intact seals, bearing inscriptions of specific regnal years, rare details that allow for precise dating. It felt as though the city's inhabitants had departed only yesterday, leaving everything behind. Many experts consider this the most significant archaeological discovery since the tomb of Tutankhamun was uncovered in 1922. Unlike a royal burial site, Aten was a city of the living, a place that captured the economic, religious, and daily rhythms of an empire at the height of its power. The city appears to have been abandoned suddenly, possibly connected to the religious upheaval under Akhenaten, the successor who promoted exclusive worship of Aten and relocated the capital. Yet the precise reason remains an open question. This discovery reminds us that time is not only an eraser. Sometimes, it functions like a vast vault. Beneath the desert sands, an entire city can rest undisturbed for 3 millennia, waiting for the moment when modern light touches it for the very first time. The mystery of HMS Triumph. During the brutal years of World War II, HMS Triumph served as part of the Royal Navy, operating in secrecy across the Mediterranean. The submarine carried out more than 20 missions, including reconnaissance, agent insertions, and sabotage operations against Axis supply routes. In January 1942, it embarked on what would become its final mission, approaching the Aegean Sea to support covert operations and evacuate refugees. After that, Triumph vanished from all communication, along with the 64 sailors on board. For more than 80 years, the submarine's fate existed only in speculation. Some believed it had struck one of the many German mines densely laid around the Greek islands. Other theories pointed to a technical accident, perhaps a system failure or a premature torpedo explosion, yet no confirmed evidence was ever found. That changed in 2023, when Greek diver Kostas Thoctarides, after decades of searching, identified the wreck at a depth of more than 200 meters. Sonar imaging and remotely operated vehicles revealed that the bow had suffered severe damage from a powerful forward explosion consistent with the mine strike theory. However, there is still not enough data to completely rule out the possibility of an internal malfunction. The hatches remain sealed, suggesting the crew may have attempted to dive deeper in an effort to control the situation. The submarine is now officially recognized as a protected underwater war grave. Its exact coordinates are kept confidential to safeguard the final resting place of the 64 men who never returned. The war ended long ago, but on the cold ocean floor, unanswered questions remain in silence, as if the sea itself is holding memory in place of history. Blood falls and life without sunlight. Amid the vast white emptiness of Antarctica, a dark red stream unexpectedly pours from the face of Taylor Glacier and flows onto the frozen surface below. This strange phenomenon is known as blood falls. In a landscape almost devoid of visible life, the blood-red water creates a haunting contrast that puzzled early 20th century explorers. At first, many theories were proposed, some even suggested red algae. But modern research has revealed that the unusual color comes from iron-rich ancient brine trapped beneath roughly 400 meters of ice. When this iron-laden water reaches the surface and comes into contact with air, the iron oxidizes a reaction similar to metal rusting, producing the deep crimson hue. What is truly astonishing lies not just in the color, but in what exists beneath the permanent ice. Under Taylor Glacier sits a hypersaline lake that has been isolated from the surface for millions of years. No sunlight, no free oxygen, high pressure and temperatures well below the normal freezing point. Yet within this seemingly sterile environment, scientists discovered a thriving microbial ecosystem. These microorganisms do not rely on photosynthesis like most life on Earth. Instead, they obtain energy through chemical reactions involving iron, sulfur, and other minerals, a process known as chemosynthesis. This tiny ecosystem functions entirely independent of sunlight, demonstrating that life can adapt in ways far beyond traditional understanding. For this reason, blood falls has become a vital natural model for astrobiology. Scientists view it as a laboratory for imagining the potential for life on Mars, where subsurface briny water may once have existed, or within the hidden oceans beneath the icy crust of Europa. a moon of Jupiter. If microbes can survive for millions of years in the darkness and cold of Antarctica, then extraterrestrial oceans may not be entirely lifeless. Blood Falls reminds us that the limits of life are not defined by light or warmth, but by adaptability. And if life can endure in the deep darkness beneath Antarctic ice, then perhaps the vast universe beyond is not as silent as we once imagined. Dragon Man in China. In 2018, scientists announced one of the most controversial discoveries in paleoanthropology: an ancient human skull originally found in 1,933 inches, the city of Harbin. At the time, a laborer reportedly hid the fossil in a well during the Japanese occupation to prevent it from being confiscated. For decades, it remained in darkness and silence until the worker's descendant revealed its location shortly before his death. When carefully studied, the skull displayed features that did not fully match any previously known human species. In 2021, researchers proposed naming a new species, Homo longi, meaning dragon man, after the Heilongjiang, Black Dragon River, region where the fossil was discovered. Based on stratigraphic analysis and dating methods, the individual is estimated to have lived around 146,000 years ago, during the Middle Pleistocene. The skull is remarkably large, with a brain volume comparable to or even slightly larger than that of modern humans. It has a low but wide forehead, large square eye sockets, thick brow ridges, and a broad face with a prominent nose, possibly adaptations to the cold climates of Ice Age East Asia. However, the dental structure and certain facial bone characteristics differ significantly from Homo neanderthalensis. This mixture of archaic and modern traits has fueled intense debate. Some scientists argue that Homo longi may be more closely related to Homo sapiens than Neanderthals were, perhaps even our closest evolutionary sister group. Others suggest the skull may belong to the mysterious Denisovans, who are primarily known from DNA evidence and a handful of fragmented fossils. If Homo longi truly represents a distinct lineage, it would mean that the human evolutionary tree is not a simple straight line, but rather a tangled network of branches. During the same periods, multiple human species may have coexisted, interacted, and even interbred across Eurasia. The discovery of Dragon Man reminds us that the story of human evolution is far less tidy than textbook diagrams suggest. It is a narrative of diverging paths, unexpected encounters, and mysteries still unresolved. And perhaps, somewhere beneath the earth, or locked within ancient ice, other missing pieces are waiting to be uncovered, ready to reshape the story of who we are. Laser technology and El Dorado. For centuries, the Amazon rainforest was considered a region nearly impossible to sustain large, long-term settlements. Nutrient-poor soil, harsh climate, and seasonal flooding. This assumption led many scholars to believe the area was home only to small, scattered communities. But in early 2024, a LiDAR, light detection and ranging survey, in the Upano Valley of eastern Ecuador challenged that long-standing view. LiDAR works by firing laser pulses from aircraft toward the ground, penetrating dense forest canopies and generating highly detailed topographic maps. When vegetation layers were digitally removed from the data, an entirely different landscape emerged. Thousands of rectangular foundations, plazas, terraces, and most strikingly, an extensive network of roads linking multiple settlements. Some roads stretched for tens of kilometers, laid out in relatively straight lines with clear, intentional planning. Dating evidence suggests these structures may have existed around 2,500 years ago. Early estimates indicate the region could once have supported tens of thousands of inhabitants, a significant urban scale compared to previous understandings of pre-Columbian Amazonia. Rather than isolated villages, this appears to have been an organized urban system, complete with ceremonial centers, residential districts, and complex transportation infrastructure. The discovery forces researchers to reconsider the long-held belief that the Amazon was too hostile to sustain large societies. Instead of being overwhelmed by their environment, ancient inhabitants may have skillfully reshaped it, building raised earthworks to prevent flooding, enriching agricultural soils, and managing water systems. The rainforest we see today may not be entirely untouched, but partly the result of thousands of years of interaction between humans and nature. In 16th century European imagination, the legend of El Dorado told of a glittering golden city hidden deep within the South American jungle, a dream that drove countless expeditions. LiDAR discoveries do not reveal mountains of gold, but they uncover something arguably more remarkable: complex, well-planned civilizations that once flourished in the heart of the Amazon before being gradually reclaimed by the rainforest. Perhaps El Dorado was never a city paved in gold, yet beneath the dense green canopy, real cities once stood, proof that human history still contains chapters concealed by time, waiting for modern technology to draw back the curtain. Stonehenge, not a UFO landing site. Throughout the 20th century, Stonehenge was often swept into sensational theories, a landing pad for extraterrestrials, or evidence of technology beyond the capabilities of prehistoric humans. The massive stones, some weighing dozens of tons and transported from hundreds of kilometers away, seemed impossible for a society without metal wheels or modern machinery. But in recent years, archaeology and astronomy have steadily returned this monument to its rightful place, an intellectual achievement of ancient humans. In 2022, some researchers proposed that Stonehenge's main Sarsen circle may have been designed as a 3-6-5-day solar calendar. The circle consists of 30 upright stones, potentially representing the 30 days of a month. The trilithons at the center and surrounding features are thought to mark key moments of the year, particularly the summer and winter solstices, when the sun rises and sets in alignment with the monument's principal axis. This alignment is not accidental. On the summer solstice, the sunrise shines directly along the central axis of the stones, creating a striking visual phenomenon. Even more intriguing is the hypothesis that the system may have incorporated a correction mechanism similar to a leap year, preventing the calendar from drifting away from the tropical year, approximately 365.2422 days. If accurate, this would suggest that Neolithic communities were not merely observing the sky, they were tracking it across generations, recognizing small discrepancies that accumulate over time. Stonehenge was not built in a single moment. The monument evolved through multiple phases between roughly 3000 BCE and 2000 BCE. This means astronomical knowledge and construction techniques were transmitted, refined, and adjusted over centuries. It was not the product of a lost civilization or supernatural intervention, but the result of a community patiently observing the sun's cycles, the seasons, and the rhythms of nature, elements essential to agricultural survival. When the fog of conspiracy theories is cleared away, Stonehenge becomes even more impressive. It demonstrates that humans, even without metal tools or written language, could achieve remarkable astronomical precision using only naked eye observation, collective memory, and persistent dedication. There is no need for aliens to explain Stonehenge. All it requires is human beings standing beneath a cold night sky, watching the sun's path for generations, and transforming the motion of the cosmos into stone.